care of, which is, I mean, what more could you ask for? We've got Joe C on the left at 5-1 right now playing. It's just the Venusmon representing TS as a deck time stranger, and Ben on the other side with Magnetic Dramon.
Content creator Ben. That's really exciting to see too.
Yeah, and this is, like we mentioned, at 5-1 right now, these players are fighting to maintain their record to kind of guarantee that top cut, because if you end the day at X1, you are more than likely guaranteed to set up a top 16 placement. At X2, not always guaranteed, but a lot of the times it means you're in the clear. Anything after that, your dreams are living on a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like we're going to be starting off with the Rocks, going to be playing that Tsunorizumon to the board to get a little bit of a search with a Tsunorizumon in the back.
The cost reducer, the Digivolution cost reducer.
Yeah, that's a big deal to have set up in the raising area, because that means you're going to go turbo through it. Now, the important thing that Joe C is happy to see is that Ben did not start off with an Ukomon, which is normally the death knell to anybody playing against the Rocks. Here we're seeing a pretty quick start from Joe, though, setting up the Garurumon in the back. Going for a little bit of a cheat.
The Abyssal, which also basically adds the bottom security card to your hand, then inserts itself back to the bottom. It has specialized effects that are benefited once you get Neptunemon or Venusmon out in play.
That makes a lot of sense, because the deck is pretty geared toward that toolbox. We see the Venusmon being represented, but the Neptunemon, of course, we know is there as well.
The final part of that Abyssal option card actually also plays out a Digimon, which is where that Electmon came out from.
That Electmon is going to be able to get that search, of course, adding a Time Stranger and an Iliad card, and having a pretty nifty inheritable effect if we're going to be able to get that running.
Joe is in a good position right now, because on the next turn, if he Digivolves into, say, Gatomon, we can see that Sophimon play, even at one memory.
Absolutely, yeah, because Gato will allow you to Digivolve when either when it's played or when Digivolved straight into the Sylphimon, and then, of course, Sylphimon's ability when Digivolving allows it to attack regardless of whether the turn is still yours. Here we're going into a Landramon, of course, using that ability to search when Digivolving, as well as when moving, if I'm not mistaken, is going to be able to, or start a main, is able to remove one of your sources in order to get a little bit of a search going. And it looks like the, is that a BT5 classic?
Yeah, Gogmamon from the olden times. We also see Gravel Hearts and sending all that away.
But of course, because we didn't get to build this stack from the raising, there's no Tumblemon to gain back memory, so we are sitting at 0. How do we pass it? It looks like it is just going to be a little bit of a training. We're grabbing a scramble off of the training, so we're setting up for a big combo turn in the future.
Yeah.
And that is usually how Rocks works, is they want one big combo. Usually they kill you off of 2 turns, not just 1, because they aren't usually able to get a full 5 checks plus an extra, but the Magnetic Dramon does usually, because it's able to restand and usually gain that sec plus.
We forgot to mention the Sunoriza, when it was detached from the Landramon, it deletes a play cost 4 or lower. That's why the Electmon is no longer on screen.
Yeah, really important to note. So Rocks as a whole, the deck really focuses around getting effects whenever your Digimon sources are trashed. So the entire line is built around trashing their own sources to gain a benefit, and then each source has an ability. Like, for example, the Tsunorizumon, when sent to the trash, deleting that floor cost or less. There's also Digivolve on the table for these types of effects.
There's
Tumblemon,
the memory game.
like you saw right there, Tumblemon gains memory when it's trashed, and I think the important thing here is we can utilize that search effect by trashing from any of your Digimon, which is why we're able to pull it off of the Tsunoriza here, who can now, like you mentioned before, Digivolve for a reduced cost, maybe even to another Landramon. We could find every piece that we're looking for, and it is Landramon, but not the one that's searching here.
The reduced Evo cost of 1 here, that's why we went 1. Looks like we are playing Gravel Hearts.
I believe the close, full cost close, off of the effect of
Landramon.
the Landramon.
Yep.
And that closes are very important to get on the board as the Rocks player, because that will usually allow you to properly reload all of your inheritables.
Now, interestingly, don't you normally want to try to get a Tumblemon into your trash as quickly as possible, just so you can cycle through more of them?
Usually you do, and that's why I mentioned that getting that Uko early is a quick way to get 2 Tumblemon, and once you have the second Tumblemon in rotation, you are off to the races. Now, in this case, we just have the 1. It's going to take us 2 turns to get another Tumblemon unless we see some absolutely wild technology. But right now, looking like we're still pretty ahead on board. You know, there's not a huge threat looming from Joe.
Not what I wanted. Okay, that's fine.
Like you mentioned, regardless of the memory, of course, if Gatomon comes out, we can make a Sylphimon play.
Training here.
But just ending the turn with Sylphimon on board isn't the most threatening thing, especially when you can de-digivolve it as a form of removal instead of just getting it off the board so that it floats.
Utilizing the scrambles, we go into Proganomon. This is the EX8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe usually they'll be more inclined to rock with that one.
Right here. Then I'm going to
EX10. Yeah,
Oh, this one's the EX10?
gain memory and
I thought Ben Ben was going for max rarity, so the foil uncommon and uncommon was what I was looking for.
You know, everybody wants to have the max rarity deck, but sometimes it's hard to get all the pieces put together. Right now, though, the pieces on the table are looking pretty put together.
it's unfortunate.
And Ben Ben is looking like he's in a pretty solid position, of course, having been able to utilize that close
But you know what?
in order to reload these pieces.
I don't think you're magnetic here yet, right?
If you don't keep turn, it doesn't seem that important. But here we are going to utilize the scramble, and we're going into a guy that I don't quite, is that Justimon?
I thought it was Justimon, but I can't tell.
I think that's a Justimon Blitzarm. That's BT23 Justimon. If I have the right card, I believe that when Digivolving, they can trash an option card in the battle area. There's not anything to hit there, but that is a very rare effect to have on a Digimon, so it might be quite cool to see that kind of tech available in Rocks. But of course, all turns when option cards in the battle area are trashed, we can unsuspend, and then the opponent's Digimon effects are not able to affect Justimon, so there's a chance that we could benefit from that. Right now, I'm anticipating because Garurumon came out, I don't believe that Justimon has any form of blocker, but we're not even going to be worried about a swing. We are just going to be playing that Minervamon gives us an opportunity to de-digivolve, and of course is able to play an Iliad, I believe, Time Stranger card with 5 cost or less, so we're able to get that Homeros on the field.
Now we trigger Dan and Yuki, play an option, end of turn attack.
Here we are, we're going for that search. It's always nice to see that in between theater being played for free.
We got the Gato too.
Gatomon is absolutely a critical piece to the combo. It looks like Joe is deciding that that is the one that we want to see. And of course, we can kind of get a free swing here because Minervamon is giving all of our Digimon reboot and blocker. It looks like we are able to play out that Gatomon as well. So
We're using
completely
Homeros
clearing
to
out.
trigger Minerva, I think, again.
Yes, Homeros triggers Minerva, gives the ability to play out another 5 cost or less Digimon, getting that Gatomon trigger. And now we could potentially go into the Sylphie here. I think if we had it in hand, we surely would. But it looks like we're just passing turn, and Ben Ben is considering whether to utilize the scramble just to return a card to the top of the deck. At this point, you can't play a Digimon because you already have one on the board. But we are just going to stand the close, draw our card for turn, hatch, and then begin the plan.
Second Tumblemon now is coming into rotation soon.
Now, 5 memory is quite a bit to work with. And those 4s on board aren't really threatening anything in particular. There's not really any aces that we see playing. The big thing is, though, that they are additional blockers. And that's just a piece between you and the opponent.
Almost online, so you can potentially bring in Minerva.
Weighing the options right now of what to do next. I think you have a 3 set up. I think you have to Evo in the front.
Go to the Gogmamon. We do have the ability to Digiburst, a classic effect that has not seen play in quite a while, but we could get rid of this source just to get a little boost and then the effect of the Landramon.
Close the tunnel.
Delete a play cost 4 or less, right?
Let's see. I believe that Landramon de-digivolves, which wouldn't be too impactful here, so we'd be able to de-digivolve the Wergaruru. But I blinked and I missed it. We triggered close first so that we could reload the sources that we actually want to see
Kill the cost
off of the Gogmamon, because he can Digiburst as many as he wants. So we are going to end up deleting, like you mentioned, that play cost 4 lore because we were able to reload the Sunarizamon from earlier. So we're able to get rid of that Garurumon. Now, one important thing that I think Joe smartly was able to pick up on, a lot of Rock's removal is de-digivolution. or 4 cost or lower. So Hart playing that Minervamon, even though we gave 6 memory over to Ben, we saw there wasn't a whole lot that he could kind of build off of. He has to utilize the close to even get a first stack, so usually that makes it a much less lethal Magnetic Dramon. You like to have a large stack to go into the Magnetic Dramon and then reload with close to have a really big play. But you know, there wasn't a huge clapback for that, and also it's going to be now very difficult to remove this Minervamon given the board texture.
We now see a Pyramidimon come into play here. I believe this is the EX10 version.
Yes, this is the EX10 version. Yeah, typically this is utilized kind of as a stopgap in between the Magnetic Dramon, as a way, another way without close to reload your pieces from the trash, and then you can pitch them as well in the same when digivolving effect, or when attacking in order to kind of reuse those sources.
Notice that Ben is actually reorganizing the sources in a method in which that the 3s, I think, are going to be, well, they were at the top, so you would never find the 2.
Right, that way you don't get to deal with the re-triggered D-Digivolution, which is certainly going to come at one point or another. That is another interesting thing that you can do as the Rocks player, is potentially set up a situation where you have sources that are just large. You could have a level 6 under your level 6. But here we are able to clear, get one check on the security. It is the Sylphimon that surely Joe is looking to have in hand, couldn't find it.
Joe is a little bit behind now because he lost his stack, lost his secondary stack, and the third Olympian that was on the board as well.
Yeah, what I think is a really crazy thing to point out is, if I'm not mistaken, Minervamon's effect is also on deletion to play an Iliad from the hand. So that means that Joe is kind of out of gas. Doesn't have an Iliad to play off of the deletion of the Minervamon. Here we're going to hatch an egg, see if we can maybe find something here.
Going up memory with the Dan and Con and Yuki and the home row, since we were set to, I believe.
Set to 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so going up to 5. We have a memory boost if we really need it, but yeah, again, I'm thinking that there's a chance that Joe might be gassed out if we didn't play anything off of the Minerva.
If we gain the memory here and he hard slams, say, like Neptune, Neptune could spin back the card.
Yes, because Neptune only cares about the Digimon with the lowest sources. It looks like we are going for another Minerva. We found the Tapir. I think the Tapir might have come off the top, and Joe is debating for a minute, do I put this rookie in the raising area, or do I just utilize it off of the Minerva? It's a really powerful search effect because you can often grab 2 cards. You'll be able to grab one of those beasts, and you'll also be able to grab one of the Time Stranger traits.
Right.
So I think having the wherewithal to hold it for your search effect, as opposed to just getting a draw that could be any one card, is pretty important here. And we did find the Elecmon off the search, so we were still able to put a Digimon, a rookie, in the raising area. Now let's see if we're going to be able to make any big plays off of the Tapir. If we're able to Digivolve into a 4, then I think there's a chance we could trigger the Homeros at end of turn.
Are we missing 4 is the question.
I mean, we would have had to find them off of the draw for the Elecmon, right? Because we didn't have anything to play off the Minerva. So we would have to daisy chain 4 off of the when Digivolving trigger, as well as another 4 off of that when Digivolving, in order to really make something happen. But if we are a little bit lucky, there is a world where Sylphimon comes out at the end of the turn. There is a world where it happens.
It's possible. I don't see it happening right now.
Yeah, it seems a little bit far-fetched. Joe might just be playing more cards for development. It looks like we have a Weregarurumon in hand, so the 5s are ready to go.
I see 2 Weregarurumons.
And in a mirror, it might not have even been a big deal.
Oh, dang.
It only suspends when a rock is trashed from the source.
Is that Maruki? I think that is Marukimon. So it looks like Maruki, of course, it has the on-play and when Digivolving effect to suspend 2 Tamers, or Digimon, of course, and then boost by 5,000 and attack any one Digimon. So we are still able to clear over the Pyramidimon. Now, Tsunariza, with the piercing checks, of course, so we're hitting that close. Close on play effect. We have an opportunity here to set up more for the future.
This close is the one that can spin
I'm sorry,
a
yes,
tamer.
this is set up that Tsunariza, and then of course we get to restand off of the reboot.
Scramble can now trigger because there's no Digimon in play, so
Yep.
we're going to play back out the Surger Sunarizamon. We're going to spin back Pyramidimon to the top, I believe.
Yep, that way we can grab it, and I believe this is a double hit searcher, so we could grab it as well as any Liberator.
Yep.
Let's do bottom.
We add all the rocks, then throw close to the bottom.
And we have plenty of close in the back already. I think we are certainly well fitted when it comes to... Oh, it looks like we're going for a second scramble now
Correct. We're going to add
to put the
Just-
Justimon back.
Yep, and that's the draw.
Draw for turn.
No
And of course, now we can promote the Sonorizamon if we want to, but we might still hold it in the back if we don't think we need a second body, because if we're not going to get the KO swing this turn, I would like to have a Digimon that is protected and able to promote the following turn, you know?
There's
You want
7 memory, though, in rotation. So this is where I'm kind of like, you have 3 bodies, they have blocker,
Yeah,
they have reboot.
you just have to know, is my magnetic really going to be able to get those 4 checks and still give me an opportunity with the Sonoriza?
Alright. I'm gonna warp Digimon.
Right now, it's looking good.
Land drone ready?
We certainly have the memory to do what we need to do. We have still, I believe, a training in the back as well, or 2. Yeah, we do have 1 training with the Colossus.
Oh, this is the warp. Yeah, so we warp into Progonomon because there was a Landormon in the trash.
I will trash a source. Give this to
Yeah, that
Progonomon.
Progonomon lets you tuck a Landormon from the trash to Evo over the Sonorizamon, so you're able to skip some steps. You don't have to have as many level 4s as long as you've seen them at least once.
It's also more cost efficient because normally when you go 3 to 4 to 5, it's 5 memory total,
Yeah.
typically speaking.
Right, so this is saving 2 memory on the
Yep.
way up,
Yep.
maybe even more, depending on the situation here. Usually we are able to trash some Tumblemon sources or load them up so that we can kind of gain a little bit extra. And been thinking through the plays, how can we crack the board, or do we even need to bother with it? I mean, right now we do still have 3 blockers on Joe's
I
side,
can delete an option on either player's field.
and we are going for
To delete your lowest.
the Justimon Critical Arm. We are going with the inheritable
Completely maintain Digimon.
to toss that Sonorizamon. Now, Justimon could trash. I believe we still have the Digital Theater, don't we?
No, that was already used last turn.
Digital Theater was gotten rid of. Okay.
Cool. 2 for ice.
Yeah, okay. We've got the double.
Ooh, Icemon.
That Icemon is a pretty big pickup for the Rocks deck as a
He now
whole.
has,
Yes.
de-evolved
Being
protection.
a recent promo card dropped
Oh.
gives you the ability to kind of ignore some of the main issues that you would deal with as a Rocks player. De-Digivolve being one of them.
Oh.
And that means that the threat from Minervamon's a little bit less prevalent.
All's good?
Joe, taking a quick read. It is a relatively newer card, so you want to make sure that you fully understand. But it looks like we're paying 4 to go into that magnetic. Of course, Lincoln, you'll miss it. We're going to gain some of this memory back.
I will delete this and then trash security.
We're going to delete.
Haruki,
Good.
which lets us trash the top security, of
Close
course.
effects, gain 2.
Pull the memory back.
Swing, 1 attacking. second.
Attack.
1, 2.
Place 3 back under. Mainly the memory gainers.
Oh, yeah. And look at that. It was a free magnetic, and it's going to get freer. We've got even more of these tumbles ready to go.
Remove 3, gain 2 more memory, delete.
See if we have any Digimon to play off the effect. We don't.
And then 17k, 1 check. Swing.
It's going to be a Sylphie in there. We're going to swing 1 more check. We're going to trash a couple to trash that security, and we are on to the next game. Ben
is
Ben
it.
clearing out the security all in one go.
I think Joe was just missing the Sylphie. That was the only piece he
Yeah,
was missing.
we saw multiple times. I mean, if he had had the Sylphie a turn prior, we would have been melting through Ben Ben's security.
Yep.
Sounds Gucci.
And then even after that, the fact that, you know, we had enough force to get to a stabilized position to start, but nothing to play off the Minervamon meant that we were really heavily set back.
I think one thing that's also kind of scary for Joe is that giving so much memory to your opponent,
This round, I got
who
the
can
shield of
capitalize
Honey
on it,
I'm
is
happy
going to
about
be an
that.
issue.
I'm
Yes.
super happy about that.
And I think, you know, we mentioned before, a lot of the ways that decks will be able to kind of stymie a little bit of the Iliad or Time Stranger plays is by giving your opponent 5 memory so they don't have these effects that say, oh, when I'm at 4 or less, I gain this, that, or the other thing. Now, there's not a lot of great ways to give your opponent 5 memory in Rocks other than hard playing a level 4 or 5. And in that case, you've got no sources. Everything the Rocks want to do is get some sources going. Even the 4s in this deck are all 4 cost, so you really are just looking at Icemon as a way to pay 5, or you're hard dropping the Proganamons or bigger, and that is certainly not not a usual situation you want to be in.
Not at all. If you're Joe, do you go first or second for the second game?
Good.
A lot of these time stranger decks, I think, really do prefer to go second so that they can have a little bit more of that draw and setup here. And it looks like we are seeing Joe going second in this scenario.
Tumblemon into the Searcher Sunrismon. We play a training? No. Is that a Mem Boost?
Just a hand.
Yes, yeah. That is going to be the Memboost grabbing the Landramon.
3, go.
So we are going to get a little bit more search going. Still dodging the turn 1 Uko. I think that as long as your Rock's opponent doesn't see the turn 1 Uko, sending them first is a pretty reasonable play. And now we have Phenomenal Rookie in the back.
And a Searcher on the front.
Searcher in the front. We see that Dan. Dan and Yuki is quite nice to see early, but we also see the Minerva.
Okay. For that, and then the second target. Is this not? Is this? We
We also might be seeing less and less Ukos being used because even with the arrival of EX11, I think some Rock players are downgrading from 4 Ukos to 2.
I believe from what I've seen, there's 3 in Benman's list at the moment. So yeah, it's not one you expect to see in the opener every time, but it's quite nice when it does decide to show up.
Yep.
We played the option card Abyss.
Abyss Sanctuary Throne Room.
Yeah. So now trying to figure out what card you want to play. I guess there was nothing.
Now, sorry.
It doesn't look like we had an abundance of options available here. Ben maybe debating if he wants now to be the time that he promotes the Sunrismon.
4 memory is a lot though for a
Yeah.
Rocks player. Because right now you can just, put them to 1.
Yeah, and I think here we're just going to go for a setup for the future. If we don't know that off that 4 memory that we have a significant push, we might be missing a 5 or a 6 or a scenario here that we want to set up the close early before your opponent goes off.
If Demi Devi, so Demi Devi goes into Aegeomon, Aegeo has barrier,
Yes.
so we can kind of attack and not care.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is the best situation scenario in which that if you play a Tamer, in which case we play Asuna
Yeah, sets up beautifully for the trash.
Shiroki, I believe.
She's going to trash that level, the Wergarurumon,
Yep.
which usually not, you want to trash the 4 so that you can play it off of her in the future, but in this case, we're just trying to find the pieces that we need. So we'll find the 4s in the trash later.
Because you can attack with Aegeo for 1 check, Evo, Tapir, and a Guru attack 2nd check. Because there's no option cards other than Zofar Kabis.
Yeah, and I don't think many Rocks players are
Not many
still
players, yeah.
rocking that one. I think typically it is going to be just development pieces. You might see a Congo for the Hootie defense squad.
Yeah.
You don't want Hootie to swing through your whole life. I'm shocked, by the way, at how little I've been able to see of the Hootie on the street.
Yeah, we haven't seen it at all, so I'm curious.
Time Stranger's showing up big. We don't even have to utilize that barrier because Aegeo is a bigger boy than a Sunrismon.
Yep.
And here, of course, from the inheritable off of the Demi Devi, we're able to get a little bit of a filter as well. Draw 1, pitch 1.
Which is really useful.
Yeah, we saw the Minerva hitting the trash. There's not really a good way to recurse that, so we might have an abundance of it here. Really just trying to find the 4s. I believe I saw Sylphie flashed in hand.
I was going to say, are we going to go into the Wergaroo to just restand and then have evade?
Yeah, you've got evade, you've passed your opponent to 1, you have barrier, so really your opponent's going to have to de-digivolve, which, not a tall ask for the Rocks, but you're forcing them to have specific outs.
The close could be used here to spin out a close from the hand to the field, and then we can play back a Sunraiser from trash. We're not going to do that, though.
Yeah, it looks like we're just going to pitch the tumble to get our search. We do have to fully resolve the search, of course, before the tumble will trigger, and here we are going up to 2. One really cool thing about this Landramon, of course, is that you get to either return those cards to the top or bottom. So if you like everything you see, it might not be
Put it
too
back
long
to
until you see
top.
the rest,
Yeah.
Really versatile searcher.
Sorry, excuse me.
It makes Magnetic feel like one of the more consistent stacks that you could possibly build. I've been working out the math here. How do we get the memory where we want it. Of course, it's going to take 3 to get over to a Proganamon, unless we have a scramble. And from there, we're going to have to find a way to deal with the Wergaruru. There is a way to delete it if we're able to go into a Pyramidimon. I believe Pyramidimon is able to delete based on play cost, so we're able to get that done. It all just depends on what is available.
So in that case, we're going to scramble.
We're going to play the scramble before we go into the Proganamon.
Yep.
So it is just going to cost that 2.
Yep.
Scramble will reduce that Digivolution cost by 3, and this Proganamon will have collision and piercing, so we are going to be able to get rid of the Tapir if we want to swing it out. But of course, I believe we should be able to pitch an ability to delete the Tapir. I'm not sure if we have one in rotation to delete by play cost. We're gaining back memory off the tumble.
Gain 2 memory from the boost.
And here we're going to spend the training, or I'm sorry, pop the mem boost, so we go up to 4. Yeah, and then here we're going to see.
We can clear the Wergaruru stack too.
Yeah, Pyramid gives you the ability to clear the Wergaruru stack, and potentially, I think if we have a magnetic from here, we're going to be able to keep turn off of the double proc of Tumble.
Yep.
So we should be able to get some checks in as well.
Yep.
Really reducing Joe's board. So here, we're going to attempt to delete twice, and that is going to fully clear it through the evade. And then reloading a couple of Sunarizamon in here. That way we're going to make sure that we're going to clear through the Tapir as well. Leave absolutely no stone unturned.
How many rock puns are you going to make during this?
As many as I can, tumble along.
Ah, I see. We got to get the ball rolling.
Here we are going to get that swing in.
Collision.
Collision
Pierce,
forces the block.
Gato.
Now, we have loaded quite a few 4s in the trash for the Purple Tamer to bring back.
Asuna Shiroki can play out a level 4.
But just 1 4 is usually not enough to make a big difference. We would have loved to have seen a second one, but we are going to utilize that Tamer here, considering our options. I think Gato might be the pick here, just to hit that DP minus.
I don't know about that.
I don't really know what threshold we're going for.
I feel like Demi Devi would have been a better play here.
I guess it all depends on what's in hand, right? If
Yeah.
we have a proper piece. Maybe only had the Demi Devi as a rookie, so we want to hold that to Evo in the raising area, get some extra draw.
Well, plays from trash, right?
Yeah, you're right. But here we're going for the Minerva.
There's
Setting up
Homeros.
Homeros.
Digivolve 1.
2, 1 for each of the time strangers here.
Trigger it again.
As well as playing the Elecmon from hand. That whole stack going away because there's nothing left after the DP minus from the Gatomon. So we would Digivolve down to a rookie that would have not enough DP to maintain the board.
Yep. Now, does Benman use the scramble is the question.
This is the one thing that Magnetic doesn't have that some of the other aggressive stack decks do. They have a lot of consistency. What Magnetic doesn't have is a way to give itself a rush off of this scramble. Like a red deck right now might be playing Guillaumon off the scramble and being able to utilize that stack to full potential. It's basically just a second raising area. However, when you're with the rocks, you have to, if you use the scramble, pull the Digimon out, you do something with your stack, but you're not going to be able to get any win attacking effects, and that's really a large part of the combo. So you certainly have to do it to play the game. How much can you prevent Joe from, picking up steam here? We are going to get a little bit of a search off of the Sunariza. We stand, draw, Digitama hatch, back to the tumble, and what can we build up in response? We've got another Sunariza in the back, the Searcher. not the one that will reduce the Digivolution cost, so we're going to have to try our hardest to really build something up on the next turn.
You might be climbing up from the Sunrismon in play right now into something to basically just keep trashing sources, recycle memory, and search more.
Yeah, it looks like Landermon is going to hit. That way we're going to be able to trash the Sunrismon, get rid of, I believe we could get rid of the Gatomon. I believe that's play cost 4. Or the Elecmon. As well as get a little bit of a search. So we're taking the Elecmon out. Gato might be play cost 5. No, it's play cost 4.
It looks like 4.
Yeah. But just deciding to target the Elecmon first here. Now again, we've got to wonder, we've talked through this same exact math before, just on the previous turn. 3 memory gets us to a level 5.
Close to reload right now is going to put us back to...
Yeah, we're going to have an extra memory to spend once we trash this tumble. If we have a Gogmamon, no, it's going to be that Proganamon from EX8. This is the one you were looking for with that Altar.
Yep.
It does have that Fragment 3, Collision Piercing, not going to be anything crazy going up the stack. But the Blastomon, this is a piece of yesterday's tech kind of situation.
What set was that one, EX10?
EX10, yes. It was kind of an in-between. People were using this instead of one of the other Pyramidimons.
Yeah.
Because it was another rock mineral option that gave Sec +1 to the stack, not just to itself, which means when you go into Volcanic, you're able to get the extra checks on the restand. So really powerful OTK tool. Of course, not much of an OTK tool when you are not able to attack because your Digimon just played this turn, and gave a lot of memory over to Joe.
Gain 1.
We are going to strip these sources. Gain back a little bit here.
And then we delete the Gato.
Of course, that is all triggering off of the Fragment.
Deliberating right now on what to do next. Elecmon for the search. Reveal top 3. Elec, Minerva, and another Abyssal Sanctuary. Throne Room. Once you have one in rotation, the other one doesn't really matter at that point.
Yeah. Now we know we've got a Sunrise in the back, and we've got close set up front. We've got an ability to build back up. We see how much Ben's able to do off of such a short amount of memory. And Joe is consistently kind of giving Ben a good amount to work with. We're going to go into that Aegiamon.
Yeah. That's the SP rare.
It's a quite shiny version. Joe's going to be able to see. Are we going to trash our security? Are we willing to get rid of it for another Tamer? Because that, 2 security is a very small number to leave yourself with rocks.
I'm going to do it again.
Yep, add it to hand. We're going to be able to get that search.
Oh, that Garurumon would have been nice about 2 turns ago.
Yeah. Hiroko coming a little bit too late, but she does still add the Garurumon. It's never bad to see your boy. As my dog. I'm happy to see him. Speaking of my dog,
Man. Maruki.
Harukimon. Now that we only have 2 sources left, not going to have anything to fragment here. We're going to pierce through, hit the Volcanic, but I believe Maruki is too large because it gains 5k whenever it gets that on-player win digi effect, so not going to worry about hitting the 14k in security.
7 memory, though.
It's absolutely more than enough for Ben to go all the way to a Volcanic.
Or magnetic.
Or yeah, a Magnetic, correct. They're big rocks. They're all big rocks.
Oh, I agree with you.
And Magnetic is a terrifying thing to stare down when you've got
Nothing stunned.
7 memory plays. Now here's the thing though, we have not only the Maruki as well as the Minerva, two very large blockers.
Play back. Okay.
And I believe triggering the Dan and Yuki to get some extra checks here before
No!
Yep.
The fun card is gone.
the turn will pass.
Good hit. Anything else?
But this wide board, normally the small guys, the 4-cost or lowers, not a huge problem because you're going to be able to pop them. But these level 6 Digimon with no inheritables, no sources for you to de-digivolve them away, this is going to be two blocks that are going to be difficult to get through. And I believe the only source of piercing we have
When did you roll?
is through the Proganamon. But I don't believe it's inheritable.
It's not.
EX10 Proganamon should be able to give this Digimon.
The stack, yeah.
Give the stack piercing. So as long as we have that available, we'll be able to at least clear the security. But you know, piercing doesn't check for game. It's going to be a tall order to get rid of both of these Time Stranger 6s. We do see the Proganamon come back.
We're warping.
When digivolving, I will trash the source.
We're at 2 memory. We're going to use the effect to
Then
trash the tumble, gain a memory.
Gain that collision piercing. Now, do we have a toolbox 6 to be the stopgap between the magnetic, or are we just going straight for it?
all this into the
Drop the training. We are going into Pyramidi.
I will just trash.
We can delete probably the
Probably the Maruki. You don't want to trigger the on deletion
Minerva.
of the Minerva, because that could potentially play out something like the Garurumon. Well, no, it plays still the 4s, but
Oh,
being able
yeah.
to play a Garurumon to say, okay, suspend your stack, now you can't OTK me. I think the question is Ben going to be able to get enough damage that we're able to pass through that Minerva?
Oh, we're going to see a scramble.
Okay, into the magnetic. We're going to get rid of 2 tumbles.
Gain a mem. And Landra.
I will attempt to delete
Going to be that D-Digi? Or is that the pop?
the
Surely that's the pop.
trash.
Get rid of the elect. We're able to trash 1 security. Of course, that option laying in security at the end is still going to be a problem if we have to check it, but I believe we should be able to trash 1 more.
Correct.
Swing and insecurity and collision for a second.
Because you can trash sources to unsuspend, and then that will trash.
Right. So we get both of these tumbles gone, 2 more memory, and then the Sunariza is just get an extra guy. So we're going to trash the security.
Yep. Yes. These ones will trigger first. Gain 2, and now you're on the triggers. Will when did you? Sorry, when attack.
It's still his turn, though. So now we block.
Yeah, I believe blocking with the Minerva here off the collision. And again, like I was saying, you get to play that Garurumon off of the Minerva in order to suspend the extra body with collision, but there's just too many
That's
sources
it.
that Ben had access to. Being able to constantly restand in that scenario, it didn't matter how many jump blockers there were through that collision.
Ben takes it 2-0. And it's kind of surprising in some ways because we've talked about Time Strangers so much today, and I don't think we necessarily picked rocks as high up on our tier list, but it's still represented.
Yeah.